I think my husband has some kind of bathroom fetish, and he's refusing to talk to me about it. I'm not at all a good storyteller and English isn't my first language. So go easy on me. I'm trying my best. My 31F husband, 36M, has suddenly been acting weird and saying some things that I consider mildly disturbing in regards to anything either of us do in the bathroom. We've been married a bit over 5 years. He's a great man, kind, smart, funny. I've never had any reason to not trust him, and I've never before been under the impression that he has any fetish. It started in mid-December in 2019. I walked out of the bathroom and he was standing on the other side of the door. I thought he was just trying to startle me as a joke, so I didn't even address it at the time. A day or two after that, I'm in the bathroom and I hear someone lean against the door. I call out, "I'll be out in a sec," he replied. "Oh, you can hear me?" I laughed it off because I genuinely thought he was trying to prank me again. Near Christmas time, I got some mild food poisoning. It hit me in the middle of the day. I clenched my stomach, told him my stomach is messed up, and limped into the bathroom. He followed me into the bathroom. I told him to leave. He just stood there. I was seconds away from exploding all over the place, so I lost my temper a bit and just said to get the F out. He obliged but was very upset. I thought he was upset because I yelled at him. After that incident, he's been consistently leaving the bathroom door open when he goes number 2. Our apartment is a bit small, so the smell quickly gets around if you don't have the fan on. I've told him multiple to close the dang door and leave the fan on, but he just does not. There's been probably 50 more similar incidents similar to the ones above, but something recent has changed my opinion of him. I had come out of the bathroom to see him sitting in his computer chair in the hallway outside the bathroom. He pulled the chair up to the door. I was about to ask him what the heck he was doing, but he just goes, "Why do you always leave the fan on in the bathroom?" I gave him the should-be-obvious reason. He responded, "I can't hear you with the fan on." What? Why is he listening? Why hasn't this come up before? I kind of went off and started grilling him on why he needs to hear me when I'm on the toilet, but he got embarrassed and snapped at me to drop it. This is not okay with me. He might love the smell of poop and want to listen to all the sounds of me using the toilet. That's what it seems like to me. But he won't talk to me. What do I do? TLD, or I'm pretty sure my husband has some type of bathroom-related fetish. I don't want anything to do with it. This has never come up before when we were dating. He won't talk to me about it. What the heck do I do? You're going to have to confront him about it, preferably at a time when none of these events have happened. I understand this is embarrassing or upsetting to talk about, but I need to understand why it is you continue to sit outside the bathroom door. Don't want me to leave the fan on. Won't close the door when you go. And so on. This behavior is upsetting to me, and I deserve privacy when I go to the bathroom and deserve respectful behavior when you're using the bathroom. I am not asking to judge. I'm asking to understand because it's causing me distress. If he won't talk to you after that, couples counseling might be warranted. It sounds like you really care for him and find him great. The thing about fetishes and kinks is both parties really should be consenting. So I totally get why you feel uncomfortable. Also, not knowing something like this about your husband of course feels bad because it is a trust and understanding thing. That being said, I do feel a bit frustrated about a lot of the kink shaming some commenters are doing here. It is not my thing, but nothing is wrong with his kink if that is what it is. What is wrong is his approach. I would just sit down with him and say something like, "Hey, I have noticed you really seem to linger near while I am in the bathroom. I want to understand that." Leave it open at first so he can have the option of opening up. If he does not, maybe you could say something like, "I have been wondering if you have a fetish for it," then let him talk. If he denies it, I would say something like, "Okay then. I want this to be open. But because you say you don't, I am going to trust that and let you know that this feels controlling. And I need privacy, so these are my boundaries. Then tell him. Lay them out. You are allowed to have boundaries. If he does come clean and it is a kink, I would say, okay, thank you for sharing that with me. Consent is key, and I really wish you would have let me in on this sooner. I am not mad. This is just not my thing. I am okay with you getting this need met in a way. It could be porn or what have you. I would not make him feel gross for it. His kink is fine. The issue is how he is going about it. I totally get why you feel he crossed a line. Things like this should be discussed. You two have the chance to discuss it now though, and to come to an understanding together. So you have 5 years of marriage with a man you trust and love. Awesome. My first questions would be: 1. Is this a kink? 2. Is this a control issue, or is he worried about you texting, calling someone in the bathroom? This is probably a stretch given what you've described, but it's something to consider. Point 3. Why hasn't he been communicative about this? Is he even aware of his fetish, if it is one? If this truly is a healthy and loving relationship in all other ways, I would sit him down and with no judgment tell him you have started to become a little curious about some of his behaviors. If he becomes angry or defensive or just straight denies it, I would let him know that this is a serious issue for you now. You seem extremely non-judgmental and more confused, so I truly think couples therapy, one that specializes in sex, would probably work best here. May really help both of you. A lot of people are extremely shameful about their desires and kinks, especially if it's something taboo like fluid, bathroom-related activities. A lot of these comments seem really weird and dramatic. I think this is something you guys need to discuss and can work out. Just make sure, if this is his kink, and even if it totally grosses you out, to not make judgment statements on it. You can say, I personally am not into this, but it's okay that you are, and not what the hell. That is so gross. It can be hard to not have a knee-jerk reaction to kinks that don't agree with you. But when it's someone you trust and love, you still want to use supportive language. Best of luck for this! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I don't know. This story kinda stinks. Grimace. There are a couple of great things about a toilet fetish. Number 1. And number 2. Even if it is a fetish or kink he's into but avoiding discussing, that's not the red flag here. The red flag is that when you ask for space and then deny consent, he still pushes your boundaries and disrespects your autonomy, and that's shitty behavior. You absolutely need to confront that with him and make it clear that he's denying you safety in the bathroom and making you uncomfortable. In person may be best, but if it helps to do so in front of a therapist, I would advise 1. Giving him fair warning that you want to bring it up. 2. Ensuring that you have a kink-friendly therapist who won't do more damage to your husband's denial and avoidance. Point 3. Make it clear that consent is the big issue here. Yikes. This is bad. He is forcing his fetish on you without discussion or consent. This is actually a huge violation, and maybe you should look for some fetish subs for advice, because none of what he is doing is in any way acceptable. I love it when people ask for us to be patient because English isn't their first language, and then they explain the weirdest stuff in totally understandable language. Spanish isn't my first language, and if I tried to write it, you'd be able to tell. As for the other stuff, you should talk to your husband about. I am no professional, but this sounds more like a control issue. I have a partner that is similar. He'd use the bathroom when I was showering. Not okay. And open the door when I was using the facilities. Very not okay. He wasn't interested in what I was doing. He was mostly interested in invading my only truly private time. I lock the door, turn on the fan, and tell him to leave me alone or leave me for good. It worked for me. Maybe you. I think you're right about him having a fetish. That would kinda be a deal breaker for me, personally. Don't know what to tell you. To me it sounds like it's definitely a fetish. That or he's extremely comfortable with you. But it's more common than you think for people to have a scar or pee fetish. Without snapping at him, try to ask more acceptingly. If he won't give you an answer, you need to set boundaries. Tell him he cannot sit near the bathroom when you use it and that you want privacy. LMAO, he has a poop fetish. Honestly, best way is to confront him about it. He's probably embarrassed or ashamed because it's a poop fetish. The first rule in kink is safe, sane, consensual. Doesn't sound like it's consensual. People can't force a kink on you. I would sit him down and tell him that if this isn't your kink and you're okay with porn, refer him to the hundreds of sites that cater to this. I'm the Scatman musical notes. Start blasting some YouTube in the bathroom. Some nice scented candles while you're at it. There ya go. Yikes. Big picture is you need to talk to him. If he won't talk, make your stance known. Unfortunately, outside of that I have no advice. It's up to the other party to respect fetishes or lack of wanting to be involved thereof. My boyfriend and I had a similar problem with his fetish, which would be considered frowned upon. He had always had this fetish and he was too embarrassed and insecure to tell me about it for a solid 2 years because he was extremely afraid of what I would think of him or if I would leave him. From this personal experience, I believe that your husband must be very insecure and not comfortable approaching you. If I were you, I would approach him when there's nothing to do with the bathroom or poop or anything, and just confront him in the most understanding, loving, gentle way you possibly can to signal to him that you are there for him no matter what. That he's normal and there's nothing to be afraid of. And definitely don't push. Let him come to you, but also stay consistent in how you make him feel loved and understood. Hopefully this will help him come out and open up to you. Immature. My ex, who's 43, always asked if I pooped. I fucking unleashed my anger on him. Fuck that. I'm getting the feeling that he might install a camera recording device in there if you don't let him listen from outside the door. You've told him no and stop multiple times and he won't. That's extremely concerning. If you notice one day that he suddenly completely stops hanging out outside the door, please check the entire bathroom for a camera or microphone. Edit. I don't mean for opt to let him listen outside the door to avoid being recorded. I mean since he's already this persistent despite being told no. If he suddenly stops cold turkey, I would be very suspicious whether he really did stop listening.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.